Hey everyone, welcome to an Indie Spotlight, and we're joined today by the creator of Ruin Number One, the Song of the Whippoorwills, as well as the editor Matt Trin. Welcome, guys.
Nice to meet you. How y'all
Glad to
doing?
be back on channel.
For those who don't know, I'm
Uh,
Michael, and I'm one of the co-founders. And
I'm Matt, the other co-founder.
you're muted, I believe.
hmm. Yeah, sorry, I had the stream going. I
No,
muted
sorry.
it.
No. It's Matt. He thought he didn't get his introduction, and you're muted, man.
Uh,
You're muted.
Oh, I'm Matt, the other co-founder.
Sorry, I meant it should have said Matt B. I think you need.
yeah. Why don't we just call my Matt Cranky? That way it won't get confusing.
That could work.
Mm.
Or just call me Matthew, whichever one will work.
I'm gonna call him Matt B. You're Matt, and then Matt B.
All right, sounds good to me.
That's what I usually do. Sorry about that. I just wanted to make sure that they heard you. Okay. So as I was saying, we're joined by the creator of Ruin Number One, and for those who, why don't we just start with, for those who don't know about your comic, why don't you tell us a little bit about what it's all about?
Well, how should I describe it? It's a post-apocalyptic horror story focusing on the Noble clan. They are in their fallout shelter. They're in their fallout shelter, and was a bizarre apocalypse. I don't want to give away too much what happened in this apocalypse just yet. Let's just say for now that the sky is gone, and that like the sky is gone, and the Earth is no longer turning, and the sun it's not orbiting the sun anymore. And they are trying to survive in this fallout shelter while the family patriarch, Early Noble, is trying to find his older brother, Cole, out there in the wilderness while protecting his family as well. The main character is Kimberly Noble, who is a 14-year-old girl, and she will be our protagonist.
And the other characters, supporting characters, are other members of the Noble family, or rather, Noble. You call them the Noble clan, right? Is that what is it?
Well, yes, they're family, but I always call them the Noble clan. It sounds more Kentucky, but yeah, they're not the only characters, but they are the main characters. That's very much we didn't initially intend this to be the case when we first set out and started working on it, but really the family has become like a central theme of this comic. So the nobles, that would be Early, Valentina, Kimberly, Lowell, and Angela, and then Cole Noble, and their dogs, which is Lady and Fat Boy.
Nice. That's fun. Very cool. So it sounds like you got a nice batch of characters that you've kind of come up with.
And there's a gang. Oh my God, Gorgonite! No, Gilbert's dead. No more.
Very Gorgonite today.
Yes, he is. They're causing problems.
He's, for those of you who don't know, he's referring to, or she, I don't want to assume gender, but there's a running joke that we made about a Gilbert Godfrey in another stream about this. So
that's funny.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what kind of, obviously you're trying to play close to the chest with with what happens in the apocalypse, but what can you tease a little bit about what we can expect from the first issue?
All right, so the first issue is going to be it's basically, I consider it cut in two halves, where the first half is you need to realize that the nobles are a rich family. They didn't start out rich, but Early Noble got them rich. And he's a doomsday prepper. So he had built he had built them essentially this fortress with a massive fallout shelter beneath it. And so the first issue will focus both on the first half. It will focus on them being down there in the shelter for a little bit. Excuse me, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have drank soda before the stream. Give me a second.
That's okay. So I get that. I always get hiccups when I drink soda or anything like that. But
excuse me,
yeah,
that
no
was
worries.
excuse me, that was incredibly rude. I apologize.
No, it's all
But
good.
the first one will start. The first half will be them in the shelter, and the second half will be Kimberly. We'll give a little spoiler. The second half will be Kimberly sneaking out into the manor. She does not. She's not allowed, I should say, to leave the shelter. So she sneaks out and she goes into the manor, and the first issue will focus on her exploring the manor in the wake of the aftermath of this cataclysm.
Wow, yeah, that's interesting. That's just kind of adventuring out into the world for the first time in a long time.
Yep, because they had been down there. When we get to the first issue, she has already, because early and low they go out. We'll talk more about that later. But she has been in that bunker for months on end at this point. And she's like 14 or 15 years old. So just imagine being a teenager stuck underground for months on end. You got your hormones raging, and you're wanting to get out, and you can't. That'd be rough.
And so where's the rest of her family at? I mean, she's been kept there. So are they the ones keeping her there?
Her family's down there in the shelter with her.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, it's a fairly sizable shelter. The nobles, one of the things I wanted to really make clear with this was, because something that's always irritated me about a lot of apocalyptic stories is how really underpowered the apocalypse is. Like, take The Walking Dead, for example. I can't really buy into it because the zombies are so easily defeated. So I really wanted to push the idea that the nobles are really OP, right? And the reason they're really OP is because this apocalypse is so brutal that even an overpowered family like them is struggling to survive in it. So that's what we got here. Another way I like to put it, but everybody tells me this is a terrible marketing strategy. But another way I like to put it is that everybody in this stream, everybody watching it, all of us, we're dead in the comic. We could not survive. So
damn.
Yeah. So yeah, if you're reading it and you're thinking, man, like if you're reading it for that sort of apocalyptic fantasy, like the zombie apocalypse fantasy, I hate to tell you, you're dead in this apocalypse. You didn't make it.
Maybe next time.
Yeah, sure.
Right.
Sounds like an apocalypse only Superman can survive. Barely.
What's that?
Sounds like an apocalypse that Superman can survive barely.
Well, I mean, like I said, the sky's gone. And when I say the sky's gone, I don't mean like, I had to explain this when I revealed it. The sky, when I say it's gone, I don't mean, oh, the stars are gone. I don't mean there's a void above them. I mean, the sky is gone. There is
the ozone layer, the atmosphere.
No. There's no, when you look up, you don't see space. Like if you could look up. Bit of a spoiler there.
Like a new realm or something like that.
Or
something devoid of light.
No, there's
nothing at all.
There's no void. There's no sky. Like, I mean, there's no sky. There's no void above. It's
okay.
It's a bit difficult to
describe in a sense.
Yes, it is. So,
like, there's no upper level of experience for a human living on the planet, whereas someone in our world can look up and see this, as you say, the sky, clouds, things up in the air. You can't do that in this world for whatever reason. It just does not work in this world.
No, like you can't. I can't really say without giving any more spoilers. So just know that Yeah, just know that there's no sky. When I say there's no sky, I don't mean that there's a void up there. Yeah. Yes, Morganite, you're right. Only the Godfreys can survive the surface.
Yeah, that sounds all right.
But yeah, that's some basic information.
Okay, nice. Are you guys getting feedback right now? Just have a quick question.
I'm sorry, what's that?
Are you guys getting any repeat feedback, kind of like what we were earlier?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, yeah, I think it's because we're in the same room. Matt might have to locate into a different room potentially. Oh yeah. But maybe just I don't know. We'll figure it out. But yeah, so speaking, back to speaking of Ruin and stuff, your artist. How did you first come to work with your artist?
It was oddly enough, I just randomly sent a well, I shouldn't say randomly because that's not true, but I sent a DM to someone on Twitter, Serena Sketches. Big shout out to her for this. And I said, "Dang, all right, I need to stop. I need to lay off the soda. I apologize again." But I sent her a DM and I'm like, "Hey, are you open? Are you doing anything?" And she's like, "No." I'm like, "Oh, okay." So I go to slink off and she's like, "But I might know somebody who does." And I'm like, "All right, I'll shoot her a message if you can." And a couple days pass and I'd forgotten about the interaction until suddenly she DMs me back and tells me about her friend Rosalind Summers. And I get into contact with Rosalind Summers, and we clicked. We clicked almost better than almost any artist I've ever worked with before. Like, I don't want to reveal too much, but like, it has reached the point to where like working on, and Matt can tell you this too. It has reached the point to where it's actually a little spooky, to the point to where I'm like, we could actually probably turn this into a Twilight Zone episode because of just how like well we click and how well the story lines up with some things. So she just really, we just really hit it off, and her art is just so good, so fantastic. She's able to take things right out of my head and just put them on paper. It's actually, like I said, a bit spooky. But she has been nothing but a godsend. She's not just an artist. She has been an immense help with the overall story as well. She gets these characters so well. She's just been a real godsend. I'm really happy to be working with her. And it's a shame that she couldn't be here tonight. But she just scheduling issues, So
yeah, I totally get that. It was mostly our fault. I mean, she was already set to go a couple weeks ago, so we're hoping maybe we can get you guys back together to do a live stream together at some point.
That sounds good, but that's for the future. So
yeah,
just for now, don't worry. For now, don't worry about it. It is what it is. Life. What can you do?
Yeah. But so yeah, no, I mean that's cool. I'm glad to hear that you guys are like meshing so well creatively. It's nice to hear.
Yeah, she's having some fun doing with everything. She had just sent. I actually did not send y'all this art piece because it's new, but she had just done a really nice little chibi drawing of Valentina because she loves Valentina. So and it just came out so well. So
that's really awesome. I was going to say, would you want to show off some of the artwork right now that we have, or?
Yeah, go ahead.
Save
that one. Save that one for the last, though.
Yeah, the newest one. All right. Yeah, let me pull that up real quick. Yeah, the art's all coming out so nice. All right, cool. I have the first one. All right, cool. I believe this is it, yeah.
Just beware of Gilbert Gottfried.
Oh God, I hope he's not picking behind any like corners or anything. That'll scare the hell out of me.
Yeah, he'd scare the hell out of anyone.
So is this the first one? Is that right?
Let me see. That is a teaser for the one that I want to premiere tonight. So that will be the last one. So yeah, it's fine. Because I released that one
first. They're teasing them for later. That's just a tease, everyone. I hope you feel teased and I hope you enjoyed it.
So here's
okay, here we go.
One. Yeah, here's the first one. This is Kimberly Noble. She is her look is based off of a YouTuber, one of my favorites. She's actually the girl dating Jacksepticeye right now. Her name is Girl Gamer Gab, and I did it with her permission. I asked her permission. Nice. So we aged her down a bit. When I say a bit, I mean, she's a teenager now. She's 14, 15 years old. She is the main character. And how do I describe her?
Tomboyish?
Huh?
Tomboyish?
Yes, very tomboyish, very headstrong. She's heavily inspired by like Coraline. And I didn't realize that until I rewatched Coraline, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is like spooky." But yeah, she's very tomboyish. She likes to write in her journal as well, and I'm hoping for a stretch goal that we can include a few pages from her journal.
Nice. Yeah, that sounds really interesting.
Excuse me, I'm smoking a cigarette here.
No worries.
But yeah, she's like I said, about 14, 15, 16 at the oldest. We like to be very wishy-washy with their exact age. She's been down in the bunker since it happened. She never saw what happened because when she was in the bunker, it came down while she was at home watching television, and Early phoned them up and told them to get into the bunker immediately. So they did. So she hasn't actually been on the surface. She has no idea what's up there. So she wants to go ahead and her goal is she knows her brother, she knows it's dangerous up there. She knows her uncle is up there, so she wants to go up there and help look for him. And she wants to get out too. She feels trapped in prison, which she basically is. She's claustrophobic too, so keep that in mind.
Oh, that's cool. That's a good one, dude. That's a nice touch. Cool. Yeah, I like that. I really think that she sounds like a really compelling protagonist.
Yeah, we try. So
nice.
One thing I wanted to do with her is I wanted to make her tomboyish, but I didn't want to be too extreme with it. You'll see a lot of that nowadays. And I didn't want to push that too much, so we kept a bit of that femininity to her as well. So
nice. Yeah, I think Sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, I think you strike a perfect balance there, honestly.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
It was easy because Gab translates so well into comic form, so it just seemed like a natural fit, especially since she's known for doing horror playthroughs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's cool.
All right.
Then we'll go and scroll down to the next one.
Mm-hmm.
Next scroll down, or do I have to close it? Okay, there we go. Nice. Right. I'm very curious about what's going down here.
So
he's got to have a story.
Oh yes, he does. This is Early Noble, the patriarch of the Noble clan. He is actually a veteran, a Marine vet, special operations elite. He was like the elite of the elite. forced retirement due to his injury. When he after that, he has more stories outside of just his military career, but I don't want to give any spoilers again. But after that, he got into the coal business and used the money from his military career and to really sort of climb his way up the ladder in the coal business, and to the point to where he actually became a millionaire and was able to give his family a really just top-notch. Basically, it's a castle. I mean, let's not mince words here. The dude built a castle, like high security castle. He is. How do I describe him? He is, if it weren't for his wife Valentina, he would be the crazy old hermit living in a cave with a single shot rifle, a one-eyed dog, and surrounded by bear traps, ready to shoot anybody who comes onto his land. He's a very family-oriented guy, and I want to stress this, he is not a hero. None of my characters are. He's not a bad guy either, though. He is, even though he's like this crazy doomsday prepper, he even though he's not a hero, he's just a family man at the end of it all. And so his family comes first and foremost. He's the kind of guy who, if he had to choose between saving his child and saving the world is screwed, because he's going to save his child first and foremost. So
yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, that's a powerful, bond there.
Yeah, well, that's how it is with all of his family. That's why he goes out to his older brother Cole, who we unfortunately have not got a character sheet for him just yet, but we'll still get to him later nonetheless. But his brother Cole, that's why he goes out to try and find him, because it's his immediate family that's most important to him. But when I say immediate family, I mean wife and children. So I should clarify that. But his brothers, his sisters, all of his family is just extremely, extremely important to him. It's second to none. And he's the kind of guy who will always side with his family no matter what. So his brother Cole is out there, and so he is the driving force for them leaving the bunker when they leave it.
Wow.
Usually.
Yeah, he's a really interesting character. His background is really cool.
Yes, thank you. He's fun to write.
Right.
Rosalind really, like I said, really attaches herself to Valentina the most.
Oh, interesting.
I really attach myself to, because I'm just gonna lay it out there. I attach myself to Early here, and I didn't realize it until people were asking me, I'd love to that's so the mind of a doomsday prepper, that's so weird, building a bomb shelter under there. And I was like, I didn't realize it until people started remarking on it, that building a bomb shelter and having a castle, if you can afford it, was weird, because it always just, whenever I thought about it, to me, it's just like, well, yeah, of course you did, you dig a moat around your house and, put landmines around it. Why wouldn't you build a nuclear shelter beneath your house and load up with guns? It just makes perfect sense to me. So I really connect with him. He's a lot of fun to write. He's very curt. That's another reason he's very fun to write. He speaks in these very short, curt, masculine answers, he doesn't mince words. So it's really fun to just write that out, to just write a character who's just so straightforward and blunt. So in other words, he's Burt Gummer. Essentially, Gorgonite, he is Burt Gummer. He is essentially Burt Gummer, yes, if Burt Gummer were meaner. And if you were just more of a douchebag.
Not really so much the comedic relief.
Yeah, not so much the comedic relief, but
do we? Yeah, don't go to him for that reason.
Yeah,
you're not going to get it.
Yeah, he's the kind of guy who has a sign on his He's the kind of guy who has a sign on his fence that will that says, "We'll shoot on sight," and then actually means it. That sign is an actual. He will actually shoot you on sight. He's that kind of guy.
Beware of the Doomsday Prepper. Or at the very least, the Doomsday Prepper without giant worms to fight.
Yes. Well, I mean, he's got monsters to fight. According to War Campaign, he's got giant spiders to fight.
Well,
we'll get to that. What's that?
Well, we should probably leave them out of this.
Yeah. Well, let's move on. Thank you, Gorgon. I think I like him too. He's quite enjoyable to write.
All right, cool. We'll go ahead and move on to the next picture, right?
Cool. Sounds good to me. Hey, just to make sure, I just want to make sure it's still coming in clear. Is Matt B still coming in clear, guys? No feedback.
Yep.
Yeah,
Cool.
I'm not hearing any feedback, so
sounds good to me. All right, thanks, guys. Appreciate. Oh, shoot.
No problem.
Oh shoot. Oh crap. Hold on. I dropped a message out. Everyone can see my private messages. It's so embarrassing.
Oh no, man.
Oh no.
Was that furry? Man. Was that furry? Was that furry shit I saw?
Oh God, you saw it.
In the meantime, what would you say are some quick influences that helped you develop the story and the characters?
All right, so there's that's actually a it's a very wide net, I guess you could say. For the horror, there's Silent Hill, first and foremost. Masahiro Ito, in specific, the art director for Silent Hill 1, 2, and 3. He was the monster designer and environmental artist, all of that. He's my biggest influence. You can really see that in the, especially in the creature designs, which you will be seeing one of those today. So that's a big thing for me. I hope I can live up to his standard. I don't know if I can or not, but I certainly am trying. Next is The Evil Within, especially recent new internet celebrity Ikumi Nakamura. I was aware of her. I was aware of her for quite a few years, and really? I loved her work. Yeah, so I loved her work in The Evil Within, and I actually looked her up and found. I know this sounds hipster, but I do want to say that I was a fan of Ikumi before it was cool to be a fan of Ikumi. So, but she was a big influence. Her creature designs and The Evil Within were so fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Hey, the game was very iconic.
What's that?
The game was very iconic.
Oh yeah, I think the first Evil Within was hugely underrated. I think it'll get more of a cult following as the years go on, though. But that's another subject. So she's a big influence on me. And then there are some influences that are pretty surprising. Like Coraline is one for the main character, but also this is going to sound weird and might require some explanation. Have any of y'all seen the anime Watamote? No matter how I look at it, it's you guys' fault I'm not popular.
Nope.
Well, yes, Gorgonite, she did Bayonetta. She's also well known for that. Very good design, though. Bayonetta looks a lot like Sarah Palin. Well, Watamote, first off, I highly recommend if you haven't seen it, go watch it, especially if you've had like general anxiety disorder. You're gonna love it. It's very funny. But the way it's written, even though they're completely different genres, the way it's written, it has highly influenced me as well. And what I mean by that is the dramatic moments in there are very low key. And one prime example is in the first episode, something happens and the main character gets embarrassed, and her brother denies knowing who she is. And instead of like really elaborating on that, she goes and she sits on a swing, and night comes. Yes, night comes, and her brother finds her on the swing, and they say nothing for a minute, and then her brother just says, "Let's go home, all right?" And then they leave. And I really love that. I thought that was, it's that sort of, I like that kind of drama. So it really, a lot of my writing is influenced in that style of writing for the drama. Though you don't see too much of that in the first one, primarily because since it is such since everything is so different, we just have to get some information across to the readers. So we try and fit it in as diegetically as we can. And yes, Gorgonite, she does hit pretty close to home. I think that's one of the reasons it's so funny.
Now we have the next character. Looks like up on the screen.
Yep.
Which character is this?
This is Valentina, the Rosalind's favorite character. She describes her as the best mom who gives the best mom hugs. She is Early's wife, and when you really think about it, she has to sort of be the exact opposite of him, because I need you to all to really think about it. Someone as mean and hard as Early, the only woman who could ever love him would have to be someone that is the exact opposite. Someone who is extremely, extremely patient and kind and soft spoken. And so it just made sense to make her the exact opposite in the way she speaks and her mannerisms, everything. She's very traditional. She's of Peruvian descent. She's a Peruvian immigrant. So she is very traditional, but I wish Rosalind were here, because Rosalind would have a great time talking her up. She's very fun to write too, especially when she's bouncing off of Early, because she's really the only one that Early has any sort of weakness to. Not that she's in charge or anything, but she is the only one who, when Early sets his foot down, she's really the only one who has a chance of getting through to him. So, nice. She's very devoted to her family. She's very, like I said, she's very traditional. So she enjoys being at home, working at home. I'm sorry, not working, cooking, cleaning, those sorts of things. And if it weren't for the apocalypse, she would have liked to have had more children. But
wow,
yeah, she wanted at least 5 or 6. So
I see, yeah, that's an interesting character, and it'll be interesting to see what a character like this how she'll have to act in an apocalypse type setting.
Oh yeah, she's yeah, it is very interesting, I can tell you that. So yeah, I enjoy writing her.
That's awesome, yeah.
So yeah, there's not much to say about her more than Early, though. She's the one that really kept him from going over the edge and becoming that, crazed grizzly bear fur wearing, mountain man who, feeds himself by diving naked into the river and catching a fish with his mouth, So she's the one who kept him from becoming that.
Well, that's good to know, yeah. We definitely don't want that. Yeah. So let's go check out the next one then.
Mm-hmm.
Nice, yeah, I like this guy too.
Yes. This is Lowell.
What's his name?
Lowell Noble.
Right.
This is Early's son. He is the next in line to be the noble patriarch. He has a lot to live up to. He's in the military as well. He's a Marine. He was active. He's done several tours. He was home on leave when the cataclysm came. At Valentine, I don't want to give any spoilers, but let's just say Valentina understands Early better than anybody, except for one part about Early, and that one part that she doesn't understand. That one part is the one part that Lo understands better than anyone else. He's done several tours. He's very efficient in combat. He's a very good fighter. He is really sort of have been groomed to take over for Early. He's kind of in his shadow. He's trying to live up to his father, so you'll see a lot of similarities to each of them. That's why he joined the military, to be like his father. That's why he's done everything that he can. He is basically the second in command of the family. And as you can see, he has a filthy habit, as Rosalind puts it. Yes. which
Would that just be a prelude to more nasty habits in a sense?
No, that is, but I'm glad
that's probably a good thing.
No, but it's the reason I bring it up though is because I want to point out, I want to make this point of, I really want to drive home this idea of him living in his father's shadow and trying to live up to his father, because he's, but also while also accentuating the differences between the two as well. He's a smoker. Early chews tobacco, like a lot. So that's just like everything, even down to like the smallest details, like their little habits, have the sort of, how would you describe it, Matt?
Yeah,
they're very synchronized, I guess you could say.
They're
synchronized, but not quite the same.
It's as if they're expressed differently in a sense.
Yes, exactly. So I keep saying they're fun to write, but that's because it's true of all the characters. He's a lot of fun to write too, because Early is an old school redneck. All right, I'm not gonna lie. Early is an old school redneck, the kind who lives out in the backwoods. Lo is more of that new school redneck, the one who really embraces being a redneck. He's the kind of guy who would fly a rebel flag, and makes a point of he does he drinks. He makes a point of his truck. He loved his truck. Really, he actually genuinely loved his truck. He has the thickest accent out of the second thickest, I should say, out of all of them.
That's an interesting point you bring up, which is let's see, what am I trying to say? The accents, do you play those out in dialogue?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
The accents in the like you talked about them having accents, you write that into the dialogue so it's kind of given in that kind of drawl in a way?
Oh yes, definitely. It's something that is pretty. That's something that I really want to drive home. I want to have that sort of authenticity in the way that they speak. You kind of got to draw that line though, because I can go a bit overboard with it. And if you're too authentic, it actually becomes distracting to read. Like I've had to catch myself like several times while writing. Like I had this inclination to, when I'm like writing to, like they're saying to, I have this inclination to want to put TA,
Oh yeah, okay.
So you have to kind of draw that line, but I do. Is his truck nicer than his house? Well, Scott, they have a manor in the middle of a castle with a fallout bunker beneath it. That's a bit hard to live up to for a truck, I'm afraid. But he does have the second thickest accent up in the story. He's I keep saying second, I keep forgetting to mention that like he's actually third because Cole comes in later and he has the thickest accent.
Oh, really?
But Yeah, he's a lot of fun to write. I really enjoy writing him.
Well, can you tell us? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
I was curious about Clemmy his hat. So he clearly is a NASCAR fan.
Yes, he's a NASCAR fan. He's yeah, he's a NASCAR fan. He loves that sort of thing. He's very much the kind of guy. He's got a lot of the same interests as his father. He is a gun nut. He loves his truck. He loves going four-wheeling, things like that, fishing, all that sort of thing. He's basically the living embodiment of a modern country music song. So yeah, he's pretty fun to write. And
Nice.
All the way down to
yeah. I like that character. That's
yes,
fun.
yeah. You can see even that the decision to give him facial hair here, which, by the way, the reason he's not clean shaven, even though he was on leave from the military, is because it's been a few months, and he figures since I'm not active, why should I shave? The reason he has this facial hair though is because of early. Like that's his father is the reason he's growing that facial hair. His father is his biggest influence in his life. So he's really, really desperate to live up to his father, really desperate to not disappoint his father at when it's his turn to take over, running the family. So he gets pushed very hard by Early. It's very much a double standard because Early expects him to come out and he expects him to go out and fight. He expects a lot more from him than he does Kimber. So
yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's cool. He's like you said, he's kind of living in his father's shadow in a way, almost.
Mm-hmm.
That I could see how that could create a really compelling relationship with those two.
Yeah, I mean, make no mistake, he loves his father, but that just drives him to even more,
right?
To like step out of his shadow because his father expects him to step out of his shadow, and he gives him no breaks, none. Because Early
he wants the student to surpass the master.
Yeah,
you can't give a student a break.
Yeah, so he's really, really even up through their childhood. He got treated differently than Kimberly did, but he gets it. As he's older, he gets why. So he's got that pressure pressing down on him. He doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
I want to make that clear because I don't want people to think, oh, well, his story arc is he resents his father for the double standard. He doesn't. He gets why his dad was that way. So that his story arc has nothing to do with that.
Interesting, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, moving to the next one.
Yep. So I think we're done with the character sheets at this point.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so yeah, look at that.
Yeah, we move on to the promotional piece.
This is a really good one. This is so creepy.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the okay, we've seen a lot of bird motifs so far.
You've seen a lot of what?
It seems like there's a lot of bird motifs or like bird imagery in the
Oh, yes.
Is that intentional by any chance?
Yes, but they're not just birds, they're whippoorwills. I'm assuming, but let me ask anyways, have any of you read the Dunwich Horror?
Oh, I'm not sure if I read that particular story or not.
I've heard a few things about it, but I haven't personally read it myself.
Well, I'll give you a quick rundown of this particular point. In there, Lovecraft sets up this great bit of mythology about whippoorwills, in which they will, when there's a certain person who is on their deathbed and about to die, whippoorwills will gather around and they will start singing so loudly that nearly drowns out all the surrounding noise, and they sing in synchronization with their dying breaths. And when that person dies, they will try and snatch their soul as they fly away. And if they catch it, they will sing into the night. And if they don't, their singing will fade disappointedly. So I wanted to take that. This is probably the biggest. This probably there's biggest bit of Lovecraft influence in this, because if you look at it, it's much more Silent Hillish. Hillish. You can see the influences, is what I mean. But the point is I took that bit, and that is important to the lore. We've made some minor alterations to that lore. And so, but for that, it is very important that it's an overall theme for these. The whippoorwills are death birds, essentially. So
nice.
I don't want to give too much away.
No, that's perfect.
Yeah, that's pretty dope.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So as for the rest of this, this is the Spider Walker. I am particularly proud of this design, and Rosalind brought her to life so beautifully. Well, quote, beautifully. But she is the first beast, the first angel, as they're called, that Kimberly encounters in the manor. This creature, you can't see the whole thing. I'm not sure if I sent y'all the quick sketches for her concept or not. I'm not sure if I did, but she's an angel. She is what Kimberly has her first encounter with in the house, in the manor, when she sneaks out. So that's Kimberly in the front in her full hazmat suit, because you cannot survive the surface.
Wow.
Yeah, you cannot survive the surface without full hazmat gear. Now, she's not on the surface, she's in the manor, but what is on the surface, like little particles of it, have seeped into the house that has been shut down completely.
That's such a great concept. That's awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, the particles, though, it so much as one particle even touches your skin, that's it. You're over. You're dead. It gets into you, and it gets into your brain, and it drives you mad until you're finally. It drives you mad, and as you progressively go madder. This is a bit of a spoiler, but whatever. It's just a small one. As you go more and more crazed, your bones begin to twist and stretch and break. And until it eventually ends up killing you, and you're resurrected as another creature that is completely separate from the angels. So the Spider Walker here is an angel. So she is immune to the fog. She is not she is immune to the fall. I apologize. Misspoke. She is immune to the fall.
Mm-hmm.
She's immune to the fall. She's natural to it. Humans are not. So they turn into completely different beasts. They turn into beasts, not angels.
Well, yeah. That's a really interesting concept.
Mm-hmm.
And I like how, like you said, you like there's just this outside world, but it's kind of seeping into the manor, and that's almost like it to me. It kind of gives you that before giving more expansive like story, you're starting almost with that horror house or that haunted house that is such a classic of horror. I think that's a great way to start. Honestly, I think that's awesome.
Well, the big impetus for that, I appreciate that, by the way, but the big impetus for that decision was because I really, really want to tease people about what's on the surface. So, you finally get out of the bomb shelter, and you still don't see the surface. You just see the manor. So it gives you a bit of a tease. I need to make it clear that this here, the Spider Walker here, is the least of the threats that are out there. And I mean that wholeheartedly.
That's exactly what I was thinking. It's like, oh, you think that's bad? Just imagine what's on the surface kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. She is. I'm really enjoying writing out the encounter with the Spider Walker with her black webbing and everything, and you can't see it all. But she's a promotional beast, so I don't mind spoiling her at this point. You can't see it here in this image. Her club fists that go down and drag like, I don't know, what was it, 12 feet behind her, something like that, Matt?
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, and they turn into these huge, massive clubs with mouths running down them to the elbow, and her arm splits open into this mouth with this tongue that just whips out and pulls you in. Her head here, like, so I got a lot of the inspiration came from her when I was looking at a lot of insect videos, and I was looking at spider videos in particular. And while I was looking at spider videos, my dog had gotten a tick, so I had to pull that out. I don't know how familiar you guys are with ticks. They are the most horrific creatures you will ever see. And they
can get pretty bad.
Yeah, they engorge themselves on that blood, and they just, I don't know how much blood they can take before they burst. So I was looking at that, so I decided, what if something's head was a tick with spider legs coming out of the neck? And it just sort of evolved from there. So I will say that there is a bit of a surprise under the apron.
That's definitely a terrifying creature.
Yes. I don't know if I sent y'all the concept art, then you'll see the surprise under the apron. If not, though, I'm not going to spoil it here. Yes, Gorgonite emissary. I guess you would smash.
Maybe it looks like you did send us some concept art.
Okay. Oh,
birdcage, is it?
Yeah, I think those are some early.
No, it's the one below it.
Oh,
hang on a minute. Let me check.
Okay, well,
let me double check because I think I don't have screen share on, so I can double check and see what we got in store here. There's that one. Yeah, none of these are the Spider Walker, so yeah, I won't spoil it just yet.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fair.
All right.
All right, so let's move on to. Would you like to move on to the next piece?
What's that?
Did you have any other things you'd like to say about that one?
Just notice her posture here, I guess, would be what I have to say, and that's it.
Nice. Okay, I think I can get where you're going with that.
All right, but yeah, that's about it. That's one of my. Rosalind just did fantastic work on that.
Now we're looking to do some creature work.
Yep. So these are actually the first images that Rosalind had done, and you can show all three of these as you want because they were all commissioned at the same time. They come in three. These were the first. These are just rough sketches. So, but these were the first things I commissioned for Rosalind. So these are creatures. They are as big as a mountain. So the first one you're looking at here, which just a moment, for some reason the stream froze for me. Stop. I'm sorry. Minor technical difficulties. All right. So this first one here is the skin kite. She's a lot. That's the skin kite. Her wings. It's kind of hard to with just a quick sketch get that across, but her wings sort of. They flap behind her like a flag. These should be in a monster guidebook. Yes, please. Maybe I might do a bestiary at some point. I haven't decided yet. But this is the skin kite, and if you scroll on down, I think you'll get the clubfoot. Let me see. Yeah, if you scroll down. And then you have the clubfoot here. He was a lot of fun. Again, because this is just a quick sketch, this is a burlap sheet, I guess you would call it, tarp, whatever, over his head. We were initially going to have a bull skull at the top, but decided that it was creepier if we just had the long burlap sheet over his head. And yes, there is an actual design. There is an actual design for what is under there. I'm just not going to tell y'all what it is.
You like to be very secretive and reveal.
Hey, you need to be with horror, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Yes,
sure.
there's.
Good point.
Yes. Another thing I want to stress: these three are as big as a mountain. So,
Jeez, they're like almost kaiju size, aren't they?
I'm sorry. Could you repeat that?
Oh, sorry. They're almost you'd say like almost kaiju size, I'd say.
Yes. Yeah. They are very much kaiju size. They are definitely the biggest angels in the story. And then next up, you have the bubblegum head. So,
oh, jeez, the name is already amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah, pretty name in a horror movie or horror theme. Yeah, it's never going to be pretty.
No, I guess you're right. So there's the bubblegum head. I really like him. I found that with these three creatures, these three angels, the people like seem to be drawn to a different one, like in equal numbers. Like I've gotten like everyone has their favorite, and I've seen a lot of people have told me that they really like this one, and I like this one too. Particularly because of the asymmetry going on here. If you look at this creature, he should not be able to walk. He shouldn't be upright. So he's the shortest of the three by like just a little bit because he's hunched over. So these are three creatures that they encounter. I won't tell you when they encounter.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
But, I don't want to give too many spoilers here. So these three creatures, though, I essentially want to just show them off. These are the most Lovecraftian of the creatures, by the way. So when I said that, I apologize. I did not expect a phone call.
No worries.
These are when I said that the whippoorwills are like probably the biggest Lovecraftian influence. They are easily rivaled by them, so I'll let y'all decide. So
no, I love
that.
Those are really cool.
Yeah, they're looking really good so far.
Thank you. Yeah, Rosalind did a great job, and when she sent me those, that is when I knew that I was like, well, there were a few other things too, because she was actually competing with another artist at the time. But when she turned these in, I was just like, she's this is just fantastic, So there's really no one else for this story but her. So
yeah, that's pretty amazing. So let's see. We looked at the creatures.
So just a moment. What's the last one we are at?
Creature. And is this last one? Is he also giant as well?
I believe that
all three of them. All three of them are kaiju size. They're all three of them. Go away, computer.
Oh.
They're all three kaiju size. So
very nice. That is really cool.
Next up is a premiere of our dear. Yeah.
Wicked exclusive.
Yeah. This is, ladies and gentlemen, say hello to your dear Aunt Agatha.
Oh my God.
Yes, she is. She has been waiting for you. She would, she'd like to offer you a bit of tea. She is. Matt, you're actually going to have to help me on this one because I don't want to give too much away, and you know how much we can actually give away. So how do I describe her? When it comes to her, notice. All right, Matt, try help me out with this description here because we got to tread really, really carefully with your Aunt Agatha. That is one thing I can say, though. She is definitely your aunt. Make no mistake about that.
Basically, when he says that, it means everyone's aunt.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah, that implies that there's more to her than there actually is.
Yes.
See that?
What's that?
Yeah, I could totally see that.
Yes, she is. Let me just talk about the picture itself then, because we really got to tread carefully with her. Don't drink the tea. No, you can drink the tea. It's okay.
I don't trust it. No.
Yeah, I don't trust it.
No.
You don't trust your aunt?
Not with that reflection in the window. Mm-mm.
Oh.
And the main character's reflection in the mirror.
Wait, the reflection here in the cabinet mirror.
Yeah.
Oh.
Who's that singing up behind there?
What's that?
Isn't it looks like someone's singing up behind her? Maybe.
That's Kimberly.
That's what?
The main character.
That's Kimberly, the main character.
Oh, that's in her hazmat suit. Oh,
yeah, that's her. Kimberly stumbles into her house, and she's welcomed into her house, of course, just like, everybody's welcome into their aunt's house. So you'll notice, my favorite detail about this is the snow globes here of all the little cities.
Mm-hmm.
What's that?
I was just noticing that.
Oh yes, all of the snow globes there on the window, there on the of various little cities, and her collection has grown quite a bit since the cataclysm struck. So she is. I'm sorry, folks. I'm really, really proud of this thing, but so much of it is like inside details that are spoilers.
You guys run a tight ship over there.
Yes. I will point out. I will say this is a good way. This is a good thing we can talk about. Notice the music box in her hand. I don't know if you can zoom in with your camera, but the music box here in her hand is. I'll just go ahead and say this because we open on this, so it's not much of a spoiler. The opening of the very first pages of the entire story focus on a nightmare of Kimberly's, and this here music box is a direct reference. It is directly out of that nightmare, and I'm I'd like to take credit for this one, but I cannot. My girlfriend actually told me about this really, really like absurdly spooky nightmare that she had, and she goes, "Can your artist like do some pages of my dream for me?" And I'm like, I want to actually put that in the book because it was so creepy. So this music box is credited completely to her, and it is something that appears in Kimberly's nightmare from the very first issue. This is a music box of a little jester hopping on a trampoline with the bars here. So you also might notice a few, if you look closely, you'll notice a few oddities with this picture, such as the length of her arms. If you scroll up past them, you'll see they are a little longer than they should be.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. And I love this detail.
Yeah, I was noticing that. I'm sorry. Sorry, continue.
What are you saying?
Oh.
You said you're noticing something?
Did I put myself on mute? No, I was just saying, I noticed that earlier, but I thought it was just a trick of the eye.
Nope.
No, I don't want to give away too many of the details. There are some hidden goodies in this picture. So, yeah, I'm glad that actually did. I'm glad that actually did catch you. That means it worked. We've got there's some very strange things about Aunt Agatha's house, and I don't want to give too much away. The one thing I can say for certain is you can drink the tea. The tea is okay, but don't go upstairs. Absolutely, yeah, absolutely never go upstairs under any circumstances. This picture here, I think, has a lot of goodies in it for people who want to take some time to really observe it.
This one over here is one of my favorites. The her reflection in the window.
What's that?
One of my favorite details is the reflection in the window there.
Oh yes, yes. The reflection in the window there. Well, I do particularly like how it doesn't line up. It's with the way she's facing.
Nice.
So yeah, no, there's some great details in here. So it's ready for. I will be posting it up on Twitter, and anyone who wants to take some looks at it. One of my favorite details is I'll go ahead and give that spoiler away. One of my favorite details is how she only has 7 numbers on that rotary phone. There, yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, and when we get to her, which will be for quite a while, though, but when we get to her, there is a lot. That's when things, as bad as I want to make, how do I say this? As bad as things are on the surface, when we get to her, she is the most terrifying thing in the story. And as bad as things are on the surface, things can always get 100 times worse. So, you know.
It's a great, a lot of uplifting stuff for her to look forward to.
I'm sorry, I'm hearing two voices at once. What was that?
Sorry about that. I was just saying that that's a lot of uplifting stuff for her to look forward to as she comes up to this world.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. But on a more serious note, no, that I think that's really quite interesting. I love how you peppered this image with so many Easter eggs. I think that's really clever, but it also shows how much you thought about the story and the characters and how much you care about it.
Yeah, I'm actually really fighting the urge to point out some Easter eggs because I said the rotary phone is my favorite. That's actually my second favorite, but I want people to find that one. I want people to notice that one on their own.
That's fair. Yeah, you got to keep the favorite a little secret so it can be a bonus surprise.
Yes. So, yeah, I don't want to give too much away. Just when I post it up on Twitter, which will probably be later tonight or tomorrow, depending on how swollen my eye is.
Oh, gosh.
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
Are you okay?
Oh, yeah, I'm fine. It's just a little thing. It's nothing to worry about.
Okay, well, I hope you feel better.
Yeah, it's fine. Don't worry. My point is, though, depending on how swollen my eye is, I'll post this up either tonight or tomorrow. And for those observant readers, they can find some things. This one took Rosalind the longest time to do. And it just came out beautifully. I think there might be some details that she put in that even I haven't caught. Because she gets wild with the Easter eggs. There were actually some details in the Spider Walker image that I didn't notice that she had put in, and I didn't notice them until I had my like 6th or 7th time looking at it and zooming in on the images. So I imagine that she has some of the same things here. This was very fun. I enjoyed trying to build a nice warm house, the kind that like reminds me of my grandma's house growing up. So keep an eye out for Aunt Agatha, and don't be afraid to drink the tea.
All right, I'll give it a try, I suppose.
So,
she doesn't have coffee, I don't think.
What's that?
I don't think she has coffee.
Puppy? You mean dogs?
No, I made a joke saying I'm not going to drink the tea. I'll drink the coffee instead.
That's yeah. That would actually be. I would not recommend requesting coffee. That wouldn't end well. Yeah, don't do that. Drink the tea. Okay.
Just listen to the man. Trust him.
So I think that's all the artwork. That should be all the artwork I've sent to y'all right now. We are working on. So there is one more character, two more characters actually that we haven't got to because we don't have the character sheets for them just yet. The first one is Angela, who is Lowell's wife, and Angela is, how do I describe her without getting too political? Angela is an upstate New York type girl. She is down there in Kentucky with her fiance Lowell. I said wife earlier, but that's his fiance. She's down there with his family. She's very upstate New York, so you can imagine she doesn't do well with Early. The nobles seem very backwards to her. She's very much a progressive kind of person, very much it's the current year, kind of person. She's also a doctor, so that comes into play later. So she comes in, we're working on her character sheet next. And then lastly, we have Cole Noble. Cole Noble is in his mid to late 60s. And he is what Early would have been. I'm sorry. He is what Early would have been if he hadn't met Valentina, except if Early, I'm sorry, I'm stumbling over my words. Cole is what Early would have been if he hadn't met Valentina, and if he was like 3 times tougher than he is now. Cole is the kind of guy who lifts up a rock and eats the centipede beneath it without shrugging. He's the kind of guy who makes his own clothes out of the bear that he just skinned after wrestling it into submission. Cole is a lot of fun. I think he's actually more fun to write than Early because he's just such a crazed mountain man. He's just as dedicated to his family as Early, but he does all of the crazy stuff that Early would be doing if it weren't for his family. So obviously he's a bachelor. So any ladies out there, if you're looking for a husband, hit up Cole.
Okay. So, I see that.
So
interesting. Very cool. Well, sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I was just saying, expect some character art from him soon, and of Angela next. Angela's the sex appeal of the story. So, yeah, we got one of those too. We haven't left those people. We haven't left that out. So, but yeah, that's about the overview. That's about all the details that I think I'm willing to give just now.
Nice. That's really cool. Like I kind of said earlier, I really love this concept and this world that you built. I think it's gonna be really exciting the way you structured it, teasing it out in little increments. I think that's gonna be really cool to see because as we read the comic, we're gonna be experiencing kind of from her point of view as we start seeing more and more of the world coming
Yeah.
to the manor, coming out to the world, seeing what's beyond and how expansive it might be. I think that sense of discovery could be really fun in a horror comics kind of setting.
Yes, well, a lot of the one of the biggest, most important things about any comic, I'm sorry, about any comic, but horror in specific, is surprise. Never know what's coming. So, as a result, I've made it so that Matt is contractually obligated to give me his firstborn child if he gives away any spoilers.
Oh,
So,
nice! I can't believe you signed that deal, Matt. You fool!
Well,
he's got you now.
Yeah, he just couldn't resist. The story's too good.
Joke's on him. I don't plan on having kids.
Well, hey, man.
See, that's why you should read. That's why you should read the fine print, Matt, because if you don't have any children, then you owe me your left testicle.
Yeah, that sounds like a fair deal, I guess, for some might say. But it's like a really efficient vasectomy, or something, right?
Yeah.
Close enough. But no, that's awesome. I mean, yeah, I think that's gonna be really cool to see. Like, but speaking of Matt, I actually wanted to ask you, what has it been like? Be working as an editorial role on this project.
Strange.
Really, is it new for you?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Well, I have a habit. Let me. I want to put this in context. I have a habit of because I'm used to working solo. So I have a habit of like dropping like massive details on people without properly informing them first. So the thing about like the sky being gone, like there's a perfect example. The thing about the sky being gone, if you go back and you watch that stream on Bob's on Sporkman's channel, everybody else is kind of blown away by it because they can't quite get it, except for Rosalind. And Rosalind, she doesn't even blink. She's just like, oh yeah, that makes sense. I had never actually told her up until that moment about the sky. So it's, her and Matt are just, they're normally getting like these insane details just dropped on them out of the blue. So,
they're really good at adapting and kind of seeing what you're really trying to get at there.
Yeah, well, like I said, I'm so Matt's been nothing but massive help. So I'll actually let him speak for himself because, Matt's such a chatterbox that I actually ended up interrupting him by mistake.
Yeah, happens more often than you think.
Yeah. So, Matt, yeah, what do you plan on doing any more editing projects like this in the future?
Maybe.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see, huh?
More or less, that's what's going on with the Mythoverse, is that I'll be more of the go-to guide to make sure everything's within the continuity of the universe.
I mean, you never know. You may become a hot commodity, becoming one of the indie community's editors, man.
Actually, let me do a bit of cross promotion here since you mentioned the Mythoverse. Matt and I have actually been fielding the idea. We're not quite sure yet. But we've been bouncing around the idea of making Ruin a part of the Mythoverse. And Matt was the one who brought that up. So if y'all don't know about the Mythoverse, I don't.
Interesting idea. Yeah, no, that'd be cool. I could see how that could be an interesting meshing between the two universes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, we've got some ideas some pitches that can actually make it work.
Really? Yeah, no, that's cool, man. I would, I love to see. I'm already a big fan of Ruin, and obviously I'm a big fan of Mythoverse. So, we'll see, man.
Yeah,
Gorgonite, you're asking how? Just real quick, I'd tell you, but that would actually probably give away spoilers. So I'm sorry, Matt. I didn't mean to interrupt.
It's all right.
Go ahead, Matt.
No, well, all I gotta say is that it'll be a unique way of handling its addition.
Yeah, well, because I really want to see what was her name, Althea, Matt.
Yeah. Yep.
I really, because Matt and I were talking about it, and I just really, really want to see her interact with Early because they're both so different, and I think it would just be really fun to see them interact.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, it would be a fun interaction. That would definitely be memorable. That's for sure.
Mm.
Well, I guess we're pretty much getting to the end of our time here. So I just wanted to ask you if there's anything you wanted to say to your fans out there and for the people who are learning about your project for the first time.
What do I have to say? Don't contact me. I will not be giving out any signatures. Don't come to my house. No, I'm kidding. I don't know. I'll just answer any questions that anybody might have. And just buy, what's that?
Anything within reason.
No, anything. I don't care what you ask.
Even spoilers? Oh yeah, let's ask one of those crazy ones. Well, not spoilers, obviously, but
well, I mean, you can ask for spoilers. I'll just tell you I'm answering that because there are spoilers. So.
That's true. Just because you asked doesn't mean he's going to give it to you.
Yeah.
But what's your favorite drink, real quick? Do you drink?
Me, I'm a teetotaler.
Oh snap!
Yeah.
Oh,
so just a lot of soda. So,
that's funny.
I've got a gut, but it's not a beer gut. No, I'm a teetotaler for life. So I compensate by going through like multiple packs of cigarettes a day. So.
Yeah. I'm sure there's a lot of people who can relate to that.
Before he takes out his liver.
Do what? Yeah. So I guess in lieu of that, I will say that I'll answer what I smoke instead. How about that?
Nice.
What I smoke is a local brand, very cheap, not good, very bad brand. I would not recommend anybody smoke them. I do though because I don't know. I couldn't tell you why I smoke them. They're not a good brand. They're very so.
What you know, man. Right.
Mm-hmm. I'd tell you what the name is, but like I said, they're a local brand, so I'd prefer not to dox myself.
Yeah, that's fair. We'll just call it the Whippoorwills brand or something. All right. Well, thank you again for joining us. I just want to know, where can people follow you online so they can check out your project as it starts coming out?
At S Whippoorwills, which I'm going to actually write that in the chat because apparently Whippoorwills is a hard word to spell, which I was surprised.
It is. It's a deceivingly tricky word. It's got a couple double letters you don't expect.
Yeah. That's initially why we actually changed. That's why we changed the title to Ruin, because Doug TeNapel, he was criticizing the name, and I was ready to just exercise my auteur license, and just say, no, that's the name, and I'm just going full auteur with the name. But then he actually made the point of it's going to be hard for people to search for that. So we changed it to Ruin and made Song of the Whippoorwills the subtitle for the first issue.
Nice. So will you have additional subtitles leading forward and additional issues potentially?
Yeah, there are a few for each arc. So, the arc where, like, I'll give a small spoiler, but the arc where Aunt Agatha is introduced, that arc is called Impossible Geometry. So.
Oh wow, that's a fun title.
Yes, I like those sorts of titles. Those, I guess, hard to spell titles that no one can find, Doug. So.
Oh, that's funny. right. Well,
if there are any questions, otherwise, I think that's it.
Yeah, I think we're about it. And Matt, as always, we always know where to find you.
Yes,
That's you're at Matt Trin on Twitter. That's Matt with 2 T's, Trin with T. And check out his stuff on the Mythoverse as well. And thanks for coming on, guys. I really appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
And
thank you for having me.
do you have any? Oh yeah, you're welcome, man. And maybe we can maybe we'll have you on again. It'd be great to have you.
Appreciate it.
Just,
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
Oh no, I interrupted you. You go ahead. I apologize.
I was just gonna say, when we're further along, I'd love to come back on.
Great. That's great. Thank you. I appreciate that. And all right, and I appreciate everyone who watched and everyone who's going to watch in the backlog. I appreciate that, and check out his work and check out all his stuff as it comes along. And for new updates, just make sure to follow him on Twitter. And as usual, guys, thanks as always, and we'll see you next time. Take care, everyone. Have a great night.
God bless.